Well, hi guys, welcome back to the Rusty Nuts. I thought today we'd just pop out for a drive and I could give you a bit of information about the A40. So I don't think I've properly introduced Oscar, my Austin A40, to you guys. You've seen him in the videos. I've spoken a little bit about him on some of the drives that I've done, but I'd like to touch on a little bit of the history of the A40. I believe there was a tour of the BMC factory, and Prince Philip was invited along to have a look around, and to cut the story pretty short, he was asked his opinion on, I think, the current model, which was the A35 at the time, and his opinion wasn't particularly glowing of that car. So he believed that European manufacturers were leading the way in terms of design, and as a result, the guy in charge of Austin at the time decided that it was time for a shake-up. So he got the services of Farina of the Farina Studios. Basically gave them the opportunity to come up with a new design for their cars. So I think if you look back, you know, the cars like the Morris Minor, the Austin A35, the A40, Somersets, Devons, etc., they've all got that kind of, I call it sort of a bubble shape to them. The upshot was basically the A40 Farina was born. So my car is a Mark 1, and I think production ran from 1958 through to 1967. During that time there was a Mark II revision, so slight facelift if you like, different grille at the front, some of the mechanicals were changed, and the Mark I's were produced with the 948cc A-series engine, and the Mark II's were upgraded to a 1098 A-series engine, so a little bit more powerful. You might see the Mark II's are raced quite a lot because they have a longer wheelbase. This car in particular, Oscar, as he's named by my son, he has a 1098cc A-series engine. It's got an uprated carburettor, so on the original models it would have been a Zenith carb. This has got a 1.5-inch SU carb, mated to a large K&N pancake filter. I am told that the SUs make these cars perform a lot better. So as well as those modifications in the engine bay, Oscar's got a Facet electric fuel pump, and he has a full Maniflow stainless steel exhaust system. Now, one of the standout features of this car that seems to appeal to most people are the wheels. So this is running a set of period correct Weller racing wheels, and they've been powder coated in satin black. I think they look really great on this car. The car's lowered as well, so it's got that sort of squatted stance. It's got alloy blocks in the pans at the front, and then lowering alloy blocks at the back on the springs, and the springs have been modified as well. On the Wellers we've got a set of Avons, 165 7013s, and they feel really sticky. So when you're going down lanes like this, you can really sort of give it some round the bends, and it just feels planted. I absolutely love driving this car, it's so much fun. The whole reason for the naming series of the Austins, from the A30s, A35s, A40s, even back to the Austin 7s, was related to the engine output in terms of horsepower. So the Austin 7 horsepower, the Austin A40, 40 horsepower. This one I'm sure is pushing out a little bit more with some of the mods that it's got on it. It's got a fast road cam as well. What I would say about the A40 is you don't see many around. I think it's a very pretty car and it generates a lot of interest, but it's absolutely lovely, you know, when I'm in the towns, you know, at shows, at, you know, places like Gilts, people come over and have a really good chat, and it's so amazing because you'll get, you know, owners of E-types and, you know, really sort of exclusive high-end classic cars coming over to you, and they're so interested in the A40 because there are very few of them on the road, but you know, when they were in production, they were one of the big rivals to the Morris Minor at the time, and you know, there was a lot around. A lot of people tell me that these were the cars they learned to drive in. If you want something different that gets some attention, is a real hoop to drive and has a bit more of a racing pedigree, you can't go wrong with an A40, honestly. Up here on the dashboard, we've got indicator switch in the middle, so when I'm turning, that's what I'm doing. I'm using this to signal. Here we've got dash lights, so once the main lights are switched on, which is over on this side here of the steering wheel, I can turn my dash lights on and off. And over here we've got the wipers. Now the wipers don't recenter themselves, so when you turn them on and off, it's one speed, and you also have to try and get them back in the right spot, otherwise they just stop right in the middle of the windscreen. So it's always good fun trying to get those centered. We've got heater controls down here, so turn on and off for the heater. Pull this one out to switch between pumping the air onto the windscreen or out onto your feet, or kind of a bit of both. As you move it, it just moves a flap under the dash. And then we've got the choke here. This silver knob in the middle is the choke, which you can kind of see on the video of how to use a choke that I put up a couple of weeks ago. Now we have got an aftermarket DAB radio installed. The speakers are mounted underneath the parcel shelf here at the front, and the aerial for that is mounted up behind the mirror up here, so this sun strip kind of blocks the view of that aerial, which is nice. Up here on the dashboard we've got an ashtray, the heater vents, and that's pretty much it up there. I did want to look, and some of you might be able to comment on the video just to let me know, but I was wondering if that ashtray is the same size as a mini ashtray, because if it is, you can buy some attachments to put in there where you can mount your phone. So we've got, I believe it's an Australian steering wheel fitted on this. It does make the steering slightly heavier because it's a smaller circumference than what the original wheel would be. Although, like I say, it does make turning in car park just that little bit more tricky, particularly when you're doing sort of a reverse bay park. The blue vinyl interior is standard, and I think it looks great with the sort of cream piping on it. I need to have a real good go in the summer at trying to bring it up a little bit nicer, so it has got some ingrained dirt in there, and just a nice stiff sort of nail brush or something like that with some soapy water. Give it a good rub. Hopefully it should bring it up quite nice. The car does have a nice little glove box, which is handy to store a few bits in. I'm type 1 diabetic, so it's great just to put a bottle of Lucozade in there or whatever when I'm out driving, just to make sure that I've always got something with me in case I'm not feeling too sharp. This car's also got aftermarket gauges fitted, so 2 Smith gauges mounted to a steel plate that's then mounted to the underneath of the dash. I think the grille on the front of the Mark 1 A40s is absolutely beautiful. I'm not a huge fan of the Mark 2 grille. It's like straight slats, whereas the Mark 1 came with sort of a wave to it, and I think it looks really, really pretty. And it just makes the car stand out that little bit more. The lines on the car I think are awesome, so you almost get sort of fins as you go back through the car, and you kind of follow that line, and then when the rear windows come down, they meet the fins in like a channel. This car is a saloon, but they did also make, I think saloon production started in 1958, and I'm pretty sure the Countryman production started in 1959. Now the Countryman had a split rear tailgate, so one piece folds down and then the boot lid opens up, and that made the Austin A40 one of the first mass-produced hatchbacks on the market, which I think is, you know, incredible when you think that this car in that format was paving the way for modern day hatchbacks, and probably one of the most popular formats of cars that we have on the road now. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you do, please like and subscribe to the video. So Liam had a little bit of had a discovery after our peaks journey on the Moggy, something quite shocking, so that should be coming up in the next week or so. But yeah, we'll catch you in the next one.